Good evening, everyone. This is Bro Diallo. I don't hear myself. Can y'all hear me? See, just give me a second. I'm checking the microphone because I don't hear myself in these headphones. Testing, testing. Okay. Why can't I hear myself? Don't matter as long as y'all can hear me. I ain't gotta listen to myself. I talk to myself. All right. Thank you for tuning in to the newest, latest, most updated broadcast of the Rational Radicals. Or maybe I say the Rational Radicals singular because brother Skipp Coon ain't here. Still waiting. But if I go out, I'm sitting here under a severe thunderstorm. Let me just check the update on that. Oh, there he is. I said the magic words. I looked in the mirror and said, Skipp Coon 3 times and he appeared. Or is it 5 times? What's up, bro?
Six times. Six
Six
times.
times? 666 times? You better stop playing with them numbers.
Just 6. Hey, what up, folks? Hey, listen, man. I part of my tardy, getting myself together.
It's all good, bro. I ain't said nothing. I'm here looking at. I ain't even tripping off these folks because I'm under a severe weather alert here. Like my windows is rattling and stuff, and it was like bright sunny day, and it went to pitch black midnight in a matter of like 10 seconds. So I'm under a torrential rain, thunder, and lightning. But we're gonna push through. But if I suddenly go off, don't be afraid. It's just some weather.
Yeah, I hold you down. The show will take a very sharp turn.
Wonderful.
How you been, though, man?
I've been good. It's a good week. Yesterday, I went to see Capleton, the fireman, perform at DuSable Museum in Washington Park. And, he told me he's going to, King Selassie is going to make my enemies my footstool. So,
yeah.
Any day now. The Blaze, Fire Blaze. Capleton, man. I've been a big fan of Capleton since the early 90s, like 91, 92, when he came out with that tour. Teaching, preaching the people for sure. If you ignore, you're gonna perish for sure. So I'm out there screaming Jah Rastafari. I'm out there violating all my atheistic principles. Jah Rastafari, King Selassie the First, His Imperial Majesty.
I was him, man. Yeah. Him.
But yeah, listen. When I go to my uncle's Baptist church in Blue Springs, Missouri, I be there rocking and tumbling. So, I'm good at blending. I know how to blend in.
That's it. That's 90% of it, man.
Yeah, just blending, So
His Imperial Majesty.
Yeah, so I mean, if King Selassie will make my oppressors my footstool, I'm willing to entertain the potential of his divinity. Otherwise, I'm just going to chalk it up to, my two favorite cults.
Okay.
Rastafarianism and the Nation of Gods and Earth, the 5% Nation.
Here's the thing about both of those cults. Very fire cults. The 5%ers, the only thing I can't get through is like the black man is God, but the plethora of white women that are present.
Hey, man. Arm, leg, arm, head.
Yeah, like you went arm.
I am Allah.
Arm,
Allah,
head, man.
Arm, leg, arm, head. I mean, I am God body. So I don't know. I mean, makes sense to me. And if you can tame the devil, why wouldn't you? If I could get a whip and a chair and make the devil jump through flaming rings, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, that's crazy to me. But
every 5%er I know personally is with the sister. I don't know any 5%ers personally. that are with
Okay.
Caucasus Mountain cave dwelling devils.
Yeah. But like they supreme mathematics,
Uh-huh.
like the steps, like it makes a lot of sense. Like I definitely,
Do
yeah,
it though.
man. Yeah. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. What's
That's not
four?
mathematics. That's philosophy. That's ethics.
No, that's them. That's they
Yeah, I
supreme
know.
mathematics.
I understand there,
Knowledge,
but
wisdom, understanding. What's four?
that's not mathematics.
What's four?
Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta look those up. But like, no,
I
I'm with
self
it.
Lord and master.
Islam. Yeah, man.
Listen, like I said,
Four. Okay, yeah, I got word from a reliable source. 4 is culture. 5 is power. 6,
freedom.
6 is culture, freedom. 7 is God. Oh, 6 is equality. 7 is God. 8. What's 8? Is 8 born? Oh, build, destroy. 9 is born, and 0 is cipher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, let me not sit here. Like I said,
I'm
I
telling
know.
you, man. Like, you know,
All I'm saying is, all I
broken
say,
clocks, man. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is broken clocks. And Christianity in that broken clock thing, man. Like every now and then, sometimes you get something right. That's it.
yeah. Well, listen. If you look at the edicts and the teachings and philosophies of most religions, they're very noble.
Mhm.
But if you look at the constitution of most nations, imperialist nations, if you look at their charters and their constitutions and code of law, it's very noble. If you look at most multinational corporations, their what do you call that shit? Their corporate mission, their mission statement is very noble. So most, corrupt entities, hierarchical entities, oppressive institutions, they all have very noble pen to paper.
Right.
But it never translates to practice.
Right.
Especially when at the root of what is the foundation for those philosophies is something irrational, something that is illusionary, fallacious, or just plain untrue. So, I mean, if I knew nothing else about the world and I saw the preamble to the Constitution and I didn't know anything else, I think, wow, this wasn't written, couldn't have been written by genocidal enslavers, rapists, murderers, and thieves. That couldn't be written by such, If I read the Bible or the Quran, I'm like this. Well, yes, I can. Let me not go too far with this analogy. All I'm saying is, let me quote one of those good things. What's that about the tree and the fruit it bears?
Yeah, you will identify a tree by its fruit.
Yeah, not by the veins in the leaves, not by
By
the
the fruit.
texture, not by the texture of the bark. So you can look at like all these noble ideologies, all these noble writings, all these noble principles and codes, and you can look at that as the texture of the bark, the beautiful leaves with the veins that run through the leaves. But the fruit is how I judge.
Right.
So,
And you got to give an account for all the fruit. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
But all that
And
aside,
it's good. It's good enough. Listen, I do want to make an announcement before we go forward.
all right.
I am back on social media. I'm on Spill.
What's that?
Basically, they like black people that started Twitter.
What's it called?
Spill. SPILL.
Spill, bro.
Yep. Yeah, man. I'm on social media again, man. Spill.
Why is there a wait list to join?
I mean, you ain't in that number, bro. But you know what I'm saying?
Every time we do something,
But this the
you
thing.
be your own people.
You ready? You ready?
Uh-huh.
I got you a code though.
Oh, really? What it is?
Yeah. If I get it to you, somebody else can put it in. I send it to you. I send you on the text.
I'm for the people. I am transparent. You already coming with that secret society behind the back door.
But
Illuminati,
this is the other thing I want to do, and we didn't talk about this.
Masonic, secretive stuff.
This the other thing that we did not talk about. You got to give me access to the real chat. You got to give me access to the real chat. But look at this. This is for the audience. Listen to me. For everybody that's here, I will give away one invite so we can get our audience on there. So that one person will then be able to get, I think you get 3 tickets. So I'm giving away one invite to a person that's tuned in to the show tonight.
I'm looking at the web page. I'm seeing Nene links, Kamala Harris, Puff Daddy, various professional ball chasers whom I don't know the name of.
Listen, bro,
because you know what I'm gonna come in there with.
That's why I'm getting you over there.
If I get on there, it ain't gonna be no Nene Leaks business, no Puff Daddy business, no black excellence, no black striving.
Listen, that's why I'm getting you over there.
Look, Kamala Harris.
Listen. I got a code for the audience, and I got a code for you.
But you know how I do, because that's just how I am.
I come bearing gifts.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna check it out, because you know your recommendation carries weight with me.
I mean, you can't be on Twitter. Like, I got off there a long time.
Yeah, I hate Twitter. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I got off of there.
I got no place else to go. I'm like an officer and a gentleman. Like, I got no place else to go. I got no place else. I got to stop making these obscure references. People just think.
I mean, the thing is they're really not obscure. I got that perfectly. Yeah. Richard Gere, you know what I'm saying?
I got no place else.
Yeah. But listen, we got the code. So y'all stay tuned. And then we're going to give it away.
We'll see.
We're going to give it away to somebody at the end of the show. And I really like the last show we did with the people that came on, man. Shout out to my folk. That was real cool.
We're going to do that again once we get to the topic, which we've already danced around. We've already danced around the today's topic. You know. So the sooner we hash out our positions, then we can open it up for the people. And, you know, I swear on this one, I'm gonna make sure I give you the admin access and all that, so you can get on there and you can see and run things. You only remind me when we live on the air, so that's why I don't be remembering.
Because I be chilling, bro. I really do be chilling.
Yeah, I don't be chilling, man. I be high strung, uppity. So I'm gonna be seeing you in Kansas City in a few weeks.
I'm ready for that.
So.
Yeah, we got to tap in about that. Make sure we got everything together. I'm ready about that. I'm super
I think
excited.
I'm leaving the day you're arriving. So, yeah. That's the only way I could schedule it. I changed my whole schedule around. Fix your face. Because I wasn't even, I was supposed to be there actually this coming weekend. And I could only change it around. Like the 24th, you'll be there. And I'm going to hang around, you know, to break bread. But then I'm leaving that evening.
That's crazy, bro.
I tried my hardest. So, but you gonna come run the streets of Kansas City with me, man? You couldn't hang anyway, man. I couldn't be responsible. You getting lost in the streets,
man. First off,
of Killer City.
I am a maniac. As long as it happens between the hours of 7:30 a.m. until about 7:45 p.m.
Listen, man, I couldn't have you up and down Prospect. I couldn't have you out there on 31st Street and 75th and Monroe.
Hours, man, I could do all types
31st
of stuff.
and Prospect, man. I can't. I don't want to be responsible. I just can't have you in them KC streets. So it's good, man. You're gonna be in Killer City. You be all right. Just stay downtown. Stay over by where you see the big neon lights and the tall buildings. Just stay in them parts.
Okay.
You'll be all right.
Listen, man. The woke versus the slumbering.
Yes. Well, we got a word for the work, and I'm like, why haven't the anti-woke people given themselves a title? So if you ain't woke, what are you?
You sleep.
Saying somebody sleep don't hit hard enough, though.
It does. You sleep.
No.
Because you sleep, you sheep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think those things are, like, I think that's what that is. You sleep.
Yeah, but calling somebody sleep don't slap like calling somebody slumbering. It's a heavier word.
I don't know if it's heavier. Slumbering? Like, most people wouldn't even know what that means.
That makes it even more deep. That must be deep. Provoke them to go study.
Insults provoke people to go study?
If somebody call me something and I don't know what it means. So, the woke versus the slumbering. And we got a lot of... I'm woke.
You woke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is you?
I'm Josephus.
Oh my God. Are you woke or are you slumbering? Or are you somnambulistic?
I'm Josephus. I just stick with that one.
So I'm gonna call you somnambulistic then.
Okay.
That's what Amos Wilson would call you.
What, if I'm myself?
No, if you cannot see this divide between woke and slumbering, and you cannot articulate confidently which side you're on, or you trying to ride the fence, that means you're what is called somnambulistic.
I'm definitely not on no fence.
Which is you then?
I'm me. I'm Josephus.
Like I said, so I'm going to qualify. You got three people. You got woke, slumber, and somnambulistic. Somnambulistic means you appear to be awake, but you're sleepwalking. That's literally a fancy way of saying sleepwalking.
No.
Somebody said I'm biting. I'm not biting you. I got that from Amos Wilson. I don't bite.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's weird the way that like Kwame Ture talks about it. It's like you get a little knowledge and you think you're really something.
You are.
I just, I'm not.
You get a little knowledge, you are something. You are somebody.
Oh no, I definitely don't think that. Like, just because I read a book, and that made me.
You didn't say just because you read a book. You said because you get a little knowledge. A little knowledge is wonderful.
Yeah, but that
if you ain't got a little knowledge, you ain't got no chance of getting a lot of knowledge.
But that may be better than somebody.
Depends on who you're comparing to.
Help me understand.
Okay, let's say
so let's do this. You read the autobiography of Malcolm X?
Yeah, I read that a long time ago.
Okay. You read Ready for Revolution, Kwame Ture and Mike Thelwell?
Yeah.
You read Black Power, Kwame Ture and Charles
Yes, I've read the Black Canon.
So who you better than because you read them books?
I don't know. You have to name them. I can't just arbitrarily be better than people. If you want to ask me somebody specific, and I'll tell you if I'm better than them.
Because you read a book?
No, because I got a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, bro.
Yes, that's how you listen. Value, worth, quality. People with knowledge are a little bit better, more better. Like Colin Powell. Like I could say, I'm better than Colin Powell. I'm better than Barack Obama. Yes, I'm a better human being than both of them.
How?
I'm better than, oh, I missed one. I'm better than Condoleezza Rice. What
Because
makes
you read
me
a
better?
book?
No, not because I read a book. I'm better than Colin Powell because I have not in any way participated in advancing the empire. I have not committed military atrocities, nor have I covered up military atrocities.
Okay.
I have enough knowledge and ethics, and I have enough value of myself and my people and my ancestors not to be a tool, a willing, enthusiastic tool of the empire. I'm better than Barack Obama because I have not committed international war crimes. I am not a serial killer that has led to, and by the very laws that Barack Obama studied, Barack Obama is a constitutional scholar and a constitutional lawyer. He qualifies as a serial killer because he mandated, ordered, and sanctioned the drone bombing of innocent civilians over his 8-year span. So I have not done that. So I'm better than Obama. I'm better than Condoleezza Rice because I have not been a henchwoman or a henchman for a genocidal, illegitimate regime, the George H.W. Bush regime. I don't have literally a war vessel, a genocidal war vessel named after me, like Condoleezza Rice literally has a vessel of war from the U.S. Navy named after her because of her service to empire. So I can say whether I am better than, equal to, or less than a person. I have better ethics, better morals, better values, and I have a better track record. And the reason why, what has allowed me to be a better person is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I possess, and me embodying my values, embodying these understanding and acting on them. So yes, I'm better than the people, brother, aka Obi has named. I'm Mo better. If somebody say, yeah, I'm Mo better than them people.
Yeah, I would agree that you're better than those people, but I don't think it's because you read a book.
Well, where do you get your knowledge from?
Oh yeah, I definitely read books, but that don't make me better than anybody.
Then how do you determine what behaviors you will engage in and which behaviors you will not engage in?
Because of the knowledge that I've taken from the books that I've read and the things that I believe about my people and the things that I believe are true and just.
So,
but the books definitely play, but just reading the book alone isn't an indicator of anything.
I never said it was.
No,
you didn't say book. You said knowledge. You said knowledge, and then you have distilled knowledge down the book because knowledge is experience. It's interactions. Knowledge is a whole bunch of things that coalesced.
Absolutely.
So, but then when I say yes, then you said, does getting a little bit of knowledge make you better? Yes, it makes you a better person. But then you said, you think you're better than people because you read a book.
Yeah,
are we talking about books or knowledge?
I don't think I'm better than people. I think there are some people that are genuinely rotten. Like I'm definitely comfortable in saying, Barack Obama is a rotten human being. I'm very comfortable saying that, Condoleezza Rice, definitely rotten.
I'm about to make you contradict yourself.
Okay, here we go.
You ready?
Yep.
Are you a better rapper than Lil B?
Yeah.
Okay. Case closed.
But this is the thing. Being a better rapper than somebody doesn't make me a better person.
Are you a better person than Lil B?
I don't know. I've never met Lil B.
Are you a better person than the persona that Lil B projects to the world?
No, Lil B all about peace and love. I mean,
okay, so Lil B better than you.
Huh? He's a pretty bitch. That's what he said. I just thought that was a little funny.
You're a better rapper. So you are better. So better, there's levels to being better.
Yeah, but I think also one of the things
Okay,
that happens,
let me ask you this one more question, right?
Okay. All right, here we go.
Let's say someone is at a state of this person is at this state of knowledge and understanding.
Right.
And they have some lived experience, they get some formal instruction, and they read some books, and they come to this level of formal understanding. Are they a better person?
Yes.
So yes, a little knowledge makes you better.
But it doesn't make you better than anyone else.
That's a relative question.
But that's what I'm saying.
It depends.
I don't think, okay, here we go. I think you are a great person. I also think that you seek to argue first. And I get how a person that is not in their particular walk, journey, wherever that you are, could or will be turned off by the way that you act. I don't think that makes you a bad person. I do think that for the person that feels those things about the way that you can sometimes come across, that will make them say that. I don't think that my having read books, LeBron James did not read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Like, that was a really big thing that people were talking about. Like, it was very clear that the man had no understanding of the book, right? I don't think me having read that book makes me a better person than him. I think it's something that we discussed in a call a while ago. You said that I want to make sure that I present it fairly. We were talking, and you were talking about how, like, the standard is the standard, and where people fall is where they fall, right? I think a lot of times we tend to overstate our importance. And I think the idea that a lot of people will come across this conversation and interact with is thinking that because they haven't read the books, they somehow are less than, and all they got to do is read the book. And I just don't believe that to be true.
I wish you would get off the read the book part of knowledge. You did not ask me if reading a book makes you better. You asked me is having a little knowledge makes you better. And I said yes.
But if you had a knowledge and you don't do anything with it, what's the value of it?
Huh?
If you had a knowledge and you don't do anything with it, what's the value of it?
Well, we know you have the knowledge if you do nothing with it. How do you confirm whether or not the person has the knowledge?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you confirm the person has knowledge if they do nothing with it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So how?
So we can't confirm. Well, if you have knowledge and you do nothing with it, it is equivalent to not having knowledge. It's the exact same. So we can't attribute knowledge to you if you do nothing with the knowledge. We can't even confirm whether or not you have knowledge. But I don't know why we're having this book discussion, because you said knowledge. And I say, and you agree, that knowledge does not come exclusively or solely from books. In fact, you could not call a person knowledgeable if all they have done is read books. When I first went off to college and before I started my clinicals, I had thousands of dollars worth of books, big, thick, heavy, hundreds of pounds of books that I had read. And I was extremely, extremely deficient when I went onto the floor and I was in a trauma center and I was studying human anatomy. I was studying pathology. I was studying exposure levels and exposure rates. And when they put an injured person in front of me, I froze, because all I had done for the first 3 months of radiography school was study the theories, the formulas, and the books. But until I had to interact with an injured person or communicate with a mother of an injured child or interact with a corpse, a dead human body, which I hadn't interacted with. I was not knowledgeable. But when I had the book understanding, because I couldn't walk in there being completely blind and just start pulling, because I could do greater injury. Without the book knowledge, I could do greater injury to that individual. So if we could discuss knowledge, I'm willing to discuss the impact and what knowledge means and how we can value or devalue a person according to their knowledge or lack thereof. Or we can have a separate discussion about reading books and where books fall on the scale of obtaining and utilizing knowledge. And the books are valuable, but they're not at the apex of defining someone as knowledgeable. Because as someone who has read books and did not impart knowledge to me, they imparted information, they imparted techniques, they imparted ideas and ethics. But those ideas, techniques, information, data did not become knowledge until I was able to apply and engage it.
Are you valuable?
That is, and here's another thing where we're dancing back and forth between, if we're really going to discuss these issues, subjective and objective. Certain things can be objectively determined and measured.
Absolutely.
Some things are subjective and highly dependent on everything from the culture, the societies, the moment in time. Some things remain universal throughout humanity, throughout time, and across cultures and conditions. Other things change. Are you ethical if you steal? If Elon Musk steals and appropriates the labor of his employee, it's bad. If a homeless man steals bread from Walmart, it's good. Is stealing bad or good? But can you say, is rape bad or good? Elon Musk or a homeless man commits an act of sexual exploitation or violence, it's bad across board. So we got objective and subjective.
Right.
If we really gonna do this. But going back to knowledge, I would say to anyone, getting a little bit of knowledge makes you better. Even if you're not compared to anyone else, just to yourself, it makes you a better version of yourself, or better than you were before you had the knowledge.
And we agree there. All I'm saying is, if I'm walking around outside and I never read a book, I never apply anything that I understand, I should still have access to clean water. And I think a lot of times what we tend to do is, when we leave conversations a lot bigger than I would think they need to be, is we leave people thinking that, because you've done a thing, you're better than someone. And the only person that I'm really concerned with is being better than I was yesterday with the things that I know and holding myself to the standard of those things that I believe. And I think you have just you're having it, you do a very interesting dance between wanting to have big conversations and small conversations. And the conversation depends on whatever argument that you want to have at that particular point. And I don't think that a person with knowledge is better than a person without knowledge, because I believe that the things that we know so that we can teach to somebody else. Like, we have to be in service to our community. And if there are people in our communities that have all the knowledge, but they aren't in service to our community, how are they better?
The question you posed to me is, does having a little bit of knowledge make you better? I say yes. I don't think because someone doesn't have a little bit of knowledge doesn't mean that I think they shouldn't have access to clean waters and the other essentials to live dignified lives. Perfect. But the naked question, does having a little bit of knowledge make you better? Yes. And then
I said that anyone. And you said yes. And yes. I just think that's disturbing. Yeah, I don't think that.
Yes.
Makes me better.
It makes you better.
Yeah, yes. But that's what
knowledge improves you. But you can ask that about most things. Does having human contact and human interaction, does having healthy human relationships make you better? Yes. Does it make you better than other people? Well, that's subjective. You have to tell them. That's why when you said, who does it make me better than? I say, you got to tell me the people. I can tell you whether my little bit of knowledge makes me better. It makes me better overall. But if you want to start comparing people to individuals, then you have to name those individuals. And I could tell you. And I said I could be better than them, worse than them, or lateral and equal to them. Me not know. But definitely a lot of these people we look up to, I'm way more better than them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like if we're talking about looking up to Barack Obama and Condoleezza Rice, yeah, I mean it's hard to not find people that's better than them.
Y'all gonna make me say like cannabis. Some Negroes that they gotta know is better than him, but they feeling themselves because he got more cheddar than him. You might have more cash than me, but you ain't got the skills to engage ideological struggle. I ain't say what he said, but
yeah,
you know, me and cannabis, you might have more cash than me.
But yeah, but ultimately, like better equates value in the ways that other people mean value.
Yes,
and nah, like because essentially what they mean is like I get on boards and panels sometimes, and I'm looking at these people that's in the room, and I'm just like, why is this person here? And it's like, well, because they got some money.
So you think they're not worthy to be there? You think you better than them?
Yeah, they hadn't done no study.
Then you better than they are.
Yeah, I know more about what the tradition and the thought is.
I'm not for false humility. I'm not for false humility.
But see, it's not false humility.
If you're like, I'm not better than anybody, that's false humility. Not saying that you say that, but that's a theme that's out there.
Yeah, no. But see, this is the thing, right? A few days ago, I backed into a bush, and I put a dent in the bumper of my car.
I'm a better driver than you.
Okay, congratulations. A dentist knows a lot. They're not particularly valuable for what I need, and I think better than assumes that they have like some type of constant value. And a dentist, while very important, oral health is very important, isn't very useful right now. And I think we have to be a lot more specific, because I mean, you from what we've talked about on and off the air, you can grow all types of things, right? You can tend to plants, and they provide increase with your care. Can you fix a car? Are you a mechanic?
I'm not a mechanic, but I do have several issues with cars that I do address myself.
Okay. Like what?
And I have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to know that when the problem with the car is beyond my scope and I have to seek a professional. Yeah. I can change tires, I can switch out batteries, but a lot of my skills go with older cars. I can change out a gas filter. You know, my very first car was a 1968 Volkswagen Bug. And I was working at the student center for $6 an hour. So anything that was wrong with that car was on me. So I learned a lot. And you know,
them air cool. Them air cool. Like you ain't gotta do nothing there. Like, yeah. But go ahead. You know who
so I'm just saying, I know what I know. And also knowledge lets you know that what you don't know. I know my limitations. I'm so clear on my limitations. That it takes a level of knowledge and humility to know what you don't know too.
Yeah.
Now I know my capabilities and I know my limitations, and I'm constantly evaluating.
Yeah. Now you preaching. Because I mean, ultimately, like, you know, the immature among us, again, going back to it, have read some of these books, and then they walk in the community thinking they better than these people because they ain't read these books. And no, that ain't really the way that this works. You know?
I haven't met that person. I've heard about this fictional. Allow me to. I've heard about this fictional black militant all my life. This guy who read some, I love Wise Intelligent. And, he said, read a few books, learn a few truths, and talk about who you blacker than. But in all my years of organizing, I have not met this person that we always speak of.
Because he you.
It's me?
It's you.
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's you. Like,
how do we determine?
As a Southerner, like, the first time, man, I went to a Ally Media Conference in Detroit. And this is my first time seeing trans people. It is my first time really being with organizers from outside of Jackson, like in a real way, organizers from outside of the South, a very small, focused South. And these people treated me like I was the dumbest hick they had ever met. Like, because of my accent, you clearly hadn't read these books. And I'm looking at them like, well, maybe the book you read was different than the one I read, because I thought we were supposed to be in one community and loving and trying to grow and work together to figure out, what the best solutions are. That has not been my lived experience in these Black spaces. So yeah, I've met that person a whole lot, and I will also be willing to bet that.
Is it? But hold on, because you made an accusation. Mm-hmm. You said, because now you're kind of switching up on me. You said that there was an individual, I ain't got no books around me, who opened up a book, read that book, and as a result of reading that book, they put the book down and go into the community thinking they're better than everybody based on that book they read. Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody I ever see do that except Muslims and Christians.
Okay.
As far as people reading, I know people who get trapped into a certain ideology or ideological stance, and they hold that line. I understand it. I sympathize with it. I don't agree with it. But as far as it's not the book, that one book that causes that. That type of behavior is not caused by that book. And I know a lot of dudes that go from the street to consciousness, that go from the church to consciousness, and it ain't the pro-Black book that they read that breeds that level of contempt that they have for those they see as the lesser. Don't blame the books. I think you're in the fallacy of correlation and causation.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want to, correlation, causation. I just know what the outcome of it is. And it's like when people like me come around, people have been so turned off by these ideas.
But you want to blame the books. Oh, let them get turned off by the ideas. That's some old bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't buy that. I hear that bullshit a lot too. You can't tell me, well, I was a revolutionary because I just had some. I'm not gonna call down that wicked spirit again. But these people out here saying I was down for revolution, but this person's behavior or that person's behavior turned me in. Now I think it's fully legitimate, which I've gone through myself, saying I don't work with that organization, or I don't align with that particular tactic or methodology, or I don't resonate or won't be in the same room with that individual. But as far as changing your fundamental objective, purpose, ideology because of what somebody else did, I just don't see that as the case.
This is what I believe happens. I think more times than not, people don't understand the thing, and whatever they decide that thing is based off of whatever interaction they had, they then scale that up and make that apply to anyone, right? So when I say something, you know, the lady says a lot. She says, if I call myself a thing, I become a prisoner to your definition of it. So if I call myself a Christian, whatever you decide a Christian is, how you call yourself a Christian and you a woman wearing pants, right? So now we going back and forth about whether women should wear pants or not, and we're not talking about the thing. And I think you do this in our interactions, even privately. Like, this is what this thing is, and I'm just not at a point where I can be as exclusionary, you know, until you definitely cross one of those lines that I don't think we can repair ourselves. We might not be able to work together long term, but on the short term thing, I don't see why we can't work together. That's very focused on a particular thing. But, you know,
I agree. But if you call yourself a Christian
and you wearing pants,
you are claiming a set that was established and been entrenched for over 2,000 years. So you can't try to say, listen, hold on a second. Hold on.
Are you a Christian?
Hell to the no.
Okay, so listen. And this is what we've talked about a bunch before. If you are not a Christian, you don't have no opinion on what Christians do.
The hell I don't. You can ask me another question. Ask me if I'm a victim of Christianity. If I'm a subject of Christianity. If I'm colonized by Christianity. If I'm oppressed by Christianity. If I've been subjected to violence and mistreatment due to Christianity. I'm not a Christian.
Come on now. If an atheist get talking to me, I say, man, you know, I don't really know much about being atheist. I think you should be talking with other atheists about that. Because I can't attack or defend. I can't attack or defend their position. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it's what you were saying about us on the call last week when you were like, we don't have to work with, we don't have to go organize among women and prove that we feminists.
I agree with that.
If you're an atheist, I think you should be doing some more work with the atheists and let me figure out what to do with the Christian.
Here's the thing with that, though. You got that confused. You got that confused. Let me fix that for you. Lord, good thing I got here in time. Let me give you a little knowledge so you can be better. When you talking about oppressor and oppressed, when someone had asked a question about white people being and joining the movement, the oppressor don't need to come amongst the oppressed in order to fight oppression.
Right.
So when we said we as men and we want to fight sexism is the oppression. Misogyny is the oppression. Misogynoir is the oppression. So we as part of the men who subject women, and women say, get your ass up out of here. Us sisters is working together. We have no right to impose ourselves on that space.
Absolutely.
If white people says, I want to be a good white person, you ain't got to come to the cookout. You go to the boardroom. You go to your go to your bland ass Thanksgiving, unseasoned turkey and coleslaw, and you do the work there. Right. Christianity is an oppressive institution.
Right.
So when the oppressors can't say, we don't need you to let me work on this over here. Christianity was spilled out over the world and imposed itself on the world. So that's like white people like, how come there's no White History Month? So no, Christianity is the oppressor. So I can go and articulate and rail against and yell against that.
Do you do that at a church? Do you do that at a church?
I don't go to any of these people's sacred spaces.
That's all I'm saying.
So I just said at the beginning of the show, when I go to my uncle. Okay, and I hope you. And I hope you there.
I raise the hell in those spaces. There's not a space for you to go raise hell in. That's all I'm saying.
I don't go. Yeah, I agree with you.
Because I definitely wouldn't go to an atheist handing out Bibles. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Like,
yes,
why, these people,
but dude,
that don't have nothing to do with me. And most of the things that people openly identify as Christian, the people I love that are Christians, look at that and say, that is nowhere near what I understand and believe Christianity to be.
Oh my God. Then let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You are going to be with a whole bunch of other hell-bound Christians. Because if you say what I understand Christianity to be, the whole point of religion is so that you don't have to make determinations and think for yourself. It's laid out for you. Reality and how you relate to reality is laid out for you line by line. What you eat, how you dress, how you relate, how you have sex, how you win and not to do what. Everything about life, existence, morality, if you are a Christian, is laid out for you. So if you sitting here talking about, oh, well, that ain't my Christianity, boom, hell for you. Lean not to thine own understanding. Yeah. How'd y'all get it? How did Eve get y'all in trouble? Eating of that tree of knowledge. God wants you mindless. God wants you to be a mindless drone.
Yeah, that's why God gave us free will. But
because he's a sadistic monster. He's going to set up a situation where he has an excuse to torture you for eternity because he's a sadistic monster. But the day God said there's hell and there's heaven, he knocked free will out the box. And how is there free will when God is omnipresent and omnipotent, and he already know what you're going to do before you do it?
Because I still made the decision.
Right. So how is there free will? God knew I was going to be an atheist before he formed me in my brother's womb. He knew me. My brother. Before he formed me in my mother's... Before he formed me in my mother's womb, he knew me. God knew I would spit dirt on his name.
Growing? Are you done growing? Are you done growing?
No, I'm not done growing, but I'm done regressing. So I'll never be a Christian again. I'll never be a believer. I'm not done growing.
Okay.
Because if I was done growing, I'd still be a Christian.
No, if you was done growing, you'd be dead. Like, that's it. Ultimate maturity is death. You know, like,
let me tell you something. Boy, let me tell you something. If you see me walking to the altar during the altar call, get up and go towards the nearest exit.
Listen.
Oh, I don't.
Listen, if I saw you in church, I would be so confused. I'd be like, yo, what you doing here?
Like, you don't want to know, Skipp. Save yourself.
Hey, listen.
Let me stop talking.
Yeah.
I'm going to just get up and blaspheme.
Yeah, like, this is like, and listen, bro, live your life. Live your life, man.
I wish you could live your life, too.
I do.
No, you can't. Nah?
I do.
No, you can't. Not as a Christian. It's not your life.
It is.
Not as a Christian. Your life don't belong to you.
It absolutely does.
You so bad at Christianity. I should open up an atheist school for Christian, because Christians seem to be the least informed about the protocols, rules, standards, and practices of their religion.
Listen, you as an atheist seem to be more concerned with that than I am.
I am. I'm absolutely am. How could you believe something and not be concerned with it?
Listen. You ready? I don't have no opinion of what go on in a mosque or a masjid. Ain't none of my concern.
That's unfortunate.
And I enjoy the Quran. I think it's beautiful. Like, some of the prayers in the Quran are beautiful. Like, it's just like, man, this is beautiful. But what they do, man, they don't. Man, listen. We were listening to Beyonce while we were cooking yesterday, and that sister say she drinking water and minding her business. I'm like, man, I'm with that.
It's real easy. You know, you sound like a white person talking about being colorblind. You're part of one of the three most oppressive, murderous, genocidal religions. You're part of one of the three biggest male chauvinist murder cults in the world. And so you're saying, hey, now that my side has all the power, now that my team has all the influence, now that my team is in power, let's everybody just stop. Let's stop the competition. It's over. I'm going to stop with the trophy. It's irresponsible. It is irresponsible for a Christian to sit here and talk about, well, everybody just go to their prospective corners and be cool. Don't judge. No, I'm judging like I'm MFer because Christianity has territory, power, influence over my people that it does not deserve to have.
Right.
And I seek to return to a state for the vast majority of African history and African development. You couldn't find an African Muslim or Christian on this planet because our people are older than Christianity and Islam.
Absolutely, they are.
And Christianity and Islam are on a parallel trajectory with African colonization, enslavement, and oppression.
Right.
And to this day, where it has had over really 1,400, Christianity and Islam have had over 1,400 years to separate themselves, to detach themselves from the systems and institutions of slavery, oppression, and genocide, and they have yet to do it.
Have not.
So it is. So my mission is not to say, well, you in the mosque do what you want to do. Because I know people don't just do Islam or Christianity in the mosque and the tabernacle. They do it at their jobs. They do it in the legislatures. They do it in the schools. They do it in their homes, abusing their own children and loved ones. Yep. If Christianity and Islam were limited to the mosque and the tabernacle, and y'all listened to Malcolm X when he told y'all to keep it in the leave it, I wouldn't have a thing to say about it. Yep. Yep. And Christianity and the ideas that Christianity infects people's mind with are tied to everything from destruction of the ecosystem to the ongoing dehumanization and abuse of women.
Right.
And men to another degree, but no.
Children.
I ain't about to go colorblind, and I'm not about to go theology blind either.
Yep.
Theology blindness is as bad as color blindness under a system and institutions of oppression.
Yep.
Should we start the topic now?
If you want. I mean, you do whatever you want anyway. I just let people cook, man.
You're the one provoking me.
I don't provoke you. You be having this stuff on your spirit, and I just let you get it off. I just turn the other cheek.
I don't have a spirit.
Okay.
I am a biological. I am an evolved primate. I am not a spirit. Reality is real. But today's show, I want to open it up to people, right? Because I think we have been on topic. I say that in jest because today's show is ideological set tripping, the woke versus the slumberers. And my problem is, I think that ideology is fundamental to everything, good or bad. I think if you don't know, if you haven't established an ideology, then you're subject to serving someone else's ideology consciously or unconsciously. And I think the importance of ideology has been greatly diminished in the Black liberation struggle overall. Mm-hmm. And I see that reflected in a lot of people who identify themselves as pro-Black, not only embracing, but spreading right-wing, conservative, capitalistic, and other oppressive ideologies within the Black liberation struggle. Mm-hmm. And the Black community overall championing ideologies, policies, and positions that are contrary to our interest as a people, our immediate interest, but also contrary to the larger goals of freedom and justice and reasserting and reestablishing Black people where they are.
One of the things that I've learned is like in Alcoholics Anonymous, one of the things that they say is you have to put people and principles before personalities. And I think one of the things that we have not done a very good job of is putting principles before personality. like, y'all talk about it a lot on Earning Your Liberation. Like, essentially, trickle down economics is laughable when white people do it, but it is definitely going to work when black people do it. There's no real ideological grounding. Like, the idea is flawed. The thing itself doesn't work, and because of that, it just doesn't work. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it, and I don't understand the commitment to it either.
Right. Well, when we talk about print, I think the overall scope. I just was talking to a brother here, who I think is a good brother, who is a knowledgeable brother, which means he's better than the rest of y'all. And I forgot what he was saying. What was he talking about? I think we were talking about the issue of abortion and certain Supreme Court decision. And I was like, well, that's a right-wing reactionary position. And he's like, man, I'm not a right-winger. How dare you call me a right-winger? I said, well, are you leftist? He said, I'm not left or right, which left me confused. And I find a lot of black people who were within the struggle, who claim not to be liberal or conservative. They claim not to be left or right, and they don't deal with none of that. And they even say that leftism is some white shit, and that understanding where they stand on the spectrum, I think it's quite counterproductive that so many black people believe that they can go from the left wing and right wing perspective and pick and choose. Like revolution is a box of chocolate. Like they could pick and choose the flavor of right-wing reactionary positions and left-wing radical positions that most suit them on an emotional level.
Yep.
And ride the fence, which to me, what I understand in my study of politics, that if you are neutral in that way, if you are straddling the fence in that way, you default to the status quo. So since the status quo is right-wing, oppressive, capitalist, white hegemony, many pro-black, militant, conscious black people default to the status quo because they refuse to accept or comprehend the divergence on an ideological level between the left and the right.
I think because those terms have become synonymous with Democrat and Republican. So when people think left, well, I'm not a Democrat. Well, I'm definitely not a Republican. But can't really identify in policy. And because American politics has gone so far to the right, people assume that like the left is Nancy Pelosi. Like and maybe it like as left as you can get is what's the name? Ocasio-Cortez.
Bernie. Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie.
Yeah, like that's the left, right? And it's like they are so far removed from understanding like radical positions, like us talking about, Kwame Ture and African socialism, Kwame Nkrumah. Like these are things they never even heard of because they genuinely believe that capitalism is going to be right. Like they lack a radical imagination. And ultimately go ahead.
No, but I think that's also our fault as well.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm pointing finger. I think you demonstrated how we are at fault because of the political climate and atmosphere that we navigate and organize. And I know you in the grassroots, you trying to make people better. You wouldn't call it that, but you try to impart knowledge, wisdom, understanding, upliftment. But we shy away from the terminologies. We try to be accommodating to those who don't have knowledge or who reject knowledge, the willfully ignorant, not just the people who are because I think there's a difference between being uninformed or uneducated and being ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
To me, an ignorant person, the root of the word ignorant is ignore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not as sympathetic to ignorant people in the truest sense of the word as I am to uneducated or uninformed people.
Well, but also, hold on. I think this is important to add in there. I also think, though, that like one of the things that happens is, when you and Jared were having the conversation about if we will win or not, right? Like just like controlling media. Like the things that we fight against are so freaking big, right? They're so big. And like the work that Jared does with buying power, like people genuinely believe that this thing exists, right? And now you have to go in and you have to really unpack at every step the lie that they have just become so grounded in and so rooted in. And some people are going to hold on to that lie, right? But other people are willing to let it go. But the sheer amount of time, energy, and effort that it takes, it is going to be, it is a fight that you would not believe. Like it is a fight that you would not believe. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, well, but like I said, a lot of it's our fault because we shy away from terms that are charged. We don't want to. We're so focused on meeting, trying to address material deficits, trying to reduce harms, prevent harms, because we, like you said, we're dealing with some life and death shit on the ground that we, the people who have the knowledge, we like I turn on the media and black people with money flaunted, black people with formal degrees flaunted. Everybody's flaunting everything, but the one people that better not flaunt, better not step up, are the people who got knowledge, people who are who stand and fight for the people. We shy away from saying leftists. I even got black people who are woke, who I say meet the objective standard of being woke, who says, I don't use that word. I don't use that word. When I was coming up, I've been an organizer for a long time. I remember when they would call you a bleeding heart liberal, and they have, every time you have any segment, any individual or population in this society that says, hey, I want a better society for everyone. I want to uplift the people and I want to oppose or subvert the oppressors. They always come up with, say, oh, that's unrealistic, that's childish, and they always come up with a term. Before woke, they were saying social justice warrior. Oh, you're an SJW. You're an SJW. When I first got active, when I was 14 years old, and I joined these various community groups, I was in the Boys and Girls Club. I was even with the B'nai B'rith, and any organization in my community says I'm here to do good. I'm like, sign me up. And they were like, you are a bleeding heart. You're a bleeding heart liberal. Even on that discussion I had with Jared, people was in the comments talking about, oh, Diallo's idealistic. Idealistic by saying, hey, we should justly and equitably redistribute the resources. We shouldn't allow wealth to concentrate in the hand. That's idealism. Now, the people who saying, listen, you can run an infinitely expanding economy on a finite resource planet. Those people aren't idealistic.
Right. And they tell you that in laying it out.
The people who say we can colonize
limited resources.
Right. The people who say we're going to create Mars colonies while we rape and destroy the ecosystem of Earth, they're not idealistic. But the people who say, no, we should preserve the Earth's ecosystem. We should restore the Earth's ecosystem and restore balance to the Earth. Now I'm idealistic. So I think a lot of that's our fault because we don't want to confront the ignorant. We don't want to seem like we think we're better than the ignorant. We don't want to seem that we're not unified with all these black idiots out here. So we want to be unified. We want to be, you don't want to seem like we're better.
I say something that you said, man, 20, 17, maybe. Excuse me. You talked about how if my mother dies from cancer, that doesn't make me an oncologist.
Yeah.
In reference to the women whose children had been murdered by the police, that does not make them like studiers or people that are knowledgeable about the political realities that we live in. And I thought that was incredibly cruel. But the more I thought about it, I was like, this is so spot on. Like, I don't think that this could have been said any better. And I think it reads exactly as it should, right? One of the things that I think is so frustrating about what you're describing is essentially we walk into these rooms not willing to go to the mattress. Like, people's lives are not at stake. And one of the things that I have found because of our relationship, I've always been willing to go to the mattress, but I've never really understood the value of going to the mattress. Excuse me. The value of going to the mattress as quickly as I am until I started recognizing that I'm not talking with people that know better. I'm not talking with people that know more than me. I'm talking with people that are as invested in this system as the people that I'm fighting against. So what I have to do is make this extremely clear to you that this is what I'm on so that you can decide if you're going with me or not. Because after I know that you're not going with me, cool, now I can go to the next group of people to see if they're going with me. I don't have time and energy to waste because I have to build a coalition of the willing first. You're just not willing. And there are places where we're gonna overlap and we can work together, and that's where our relationship will end. But we're not gonna be able to do this for long. It's not gonna work that way. And I think the point that you're making is that essentially these people don't want to win. Like, they don't really want to end the system because it works for me in a real way. Like, we talk about the Democratic Party not being a real left. Like, they're just an opposition party. They don't want to win. They want to preserve the union. They want to preserve this country the way that it has always been run. And because of that, there's not the left. They are lit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is where, you know, like in one of our previous calls, we disagreed when you were saying how when people say the Democrats and the Republicans are the same thing, how that's not helpful. Right. But I think that echoes this particular point, that there has to be something other than this. And we are what that other thing is.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, they're not the same. Democratic and Republican parties are not the same. You know.
Yeah, and I think yes, exactly no. Exactly no. You are absolutely right. Exactly no. But for the most part, this one ain't gonna get you any closer to the left future that you say you're trying to imagine. The only way we're gonna get over there is to start building and be prepared to go to the mattress forward. And I don't think people are.
But that's another discussion. I agree with your position, and I'm gonna go so far as to say that if we can't do this on a formal level, we as a community, and the community I'm talking about is the conscious revolutionary liberationist community. We as a community have to do an ideological assessment and ideological evaluation of every leader, organization, and movement that claims to be about our liberation. I think we have a lot of movements, leaders, personalities. And I think we have to articulate that Black liberation, Black consciousness, Black empowerment, Black power is a leftist agenda, it's a leftist goal, and can only be advanced through leftist ideology. And I'm willing to hear anyone that can articulate how being neither right nor left, or articulate how being right wing, or articulate how some amalgamation of right wing and left wing positions, methods, values can get us there. And so once we realize that leftism is the key, and that our organizations that claim to act in our interests must be left. And I think if we started this, one thing, everything about the Moors and the Moorish science is absurd, except for one thing. They do understand the necessity and value of definitions. But let me not go to the Moors, because I can go to Dr. Amos Wilson. Was very, very, very focused on articulating to the community that ideology and defining and understanding and applying definitions, even if we must adjust those definitions to better suit us, must be advanced. So I think we have to do an ideological assessment and an ideological evaluation of all leaders and all movements.
Absolutely. What I will say though is this. Toni Morrison says the job, I think it's Toni Morrison, the job of the writer is to make the revolution irresistible. Tony K. Bombard. The job of the writer is to make the revolution irresistible. Thank you. I think one of the things that we have not done nearly good enough is to really engage with our responsibilities in building what this thing is. Like, we don't give people enough of an example to see, right? And so, without getting back into it, don't respond to this. Is for the audience, so don't say nothing. Okay? It's like Christians are called to make the world a better place, and if you're not making the world a better place, I don't really know what you're doing. As revolutionaries, we have to be willing. Listen, David Silberg, look, I'm in here now. You know what I'm saying? I can see these comments. David Silberg, you're not gonna be disrespecting Toni Morrison, okay? But one of the things.
But you can't say someone telling the truth about you is disrespecting you.
Yeah, we're not gonna disrespect Toni Morrison. I mean,
how is it disrespect? Yes, but how is that comment disrespectful?
Listen, David Silberg, you playing, okay?
It's just a statement of fact.
Listen, bro. Listen, I know she said that, and she was wrong, right? Players mess up, but we not gonna act like that's all she did. Like, we not
nobody.
Gonna do that.
Now you adding on, man. All he did was quote her.
He
Let me go back.
The job of Toni Morrison was to refer to Bill Clinton as the first Black president. That was not her job.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and now a beautiful, brilliant woman is over there on the couch, and she just said she also apologized for that. I wasn't familiar with the apology, but
I accept her apology.
Yeah, but like we not gonna act like that's all she did. Like, and see, this is one of the things that y'all be doing, right? This is one of the things that y'all do, and this is one of the things that I think is extremely frustrating and very annoying for me as a person that is in this community, right? We come in, we make one mistake.
She didn't make one mistake.
We gonna look at what Toni Morrison has done, what she's created. What
the only reason she apologized for calling Bill Clinton the first black president.
How you know? How you know why she apologized? You know Toni Morrison?
The only reason, yes.
You know Toni Morrison?
No, I know her I just know her through her very public life and her very public statements. She said that when Obama was elected, who gave her the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which she accepted. So she jumped from supporting a white racist like Bill Clinton and jumped over to supporting a black race traitor like Obama. Toni Morrison was not revolutionary. She was very talented, but she was reactionary AF.
And again, that's not all she did. And
yeah, she did some things.
But since you talk, go ahead.
Well, we can open it up whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do it. But like they were saying, like, yeah. Y'all really be going so far. And I just want to see the same energy when somebody else like, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. You was riding with your boy that day. What's your boy that day that made that movie? That was your boy.
Oh,
that was the boy. The boy made the movie, the Elijah Muhammad movie with the girl with the red dress up.
But I checked his ass.
Boy. You did, but you was riding with him.
Yes,
and
I
all
was.
all we gonna do is just cut that little part of it down, and that's all that happened. And that's what we do more times than not, folks. Like, I don't necessarily think that. Look, hey, there we go. Look, that one talking about Link 16. I don't know how to put them on the screen like you be doing, but that's funny. So like, all I'm saying is like, put that one on the screen. We'll be in the cut. All I'm saying is if we keep doing that, we gonna tear up our own heroes that we gonna be quoting.
We should tear up our own heroes. Yes, I'm a vegan, but I'm all for slaughtering and dissecting sacred cows. Yeah, I'm down for tearing down any hero. Hero that can not stand up to critical analysis. If you crumble before critical analysis, they'll so be it. I think our heroes and our leaders should be under the microscope and examined and dissected. That don't mean they're not my heroes. Marcus Garvey was a Christian and a capitalist.
Yep. Whoa.
And I am very critical of those positions, but I still consider him a hero.
And that's all I'm saying.
One of my personal heroes, who was my personal mentor, Dale Jones. When I made him a veggie burger, he looked at me like I was crazy and was like, boy, if you don't go give me some ribs, I think that I was very, he didn't want no parts of that green ecological veganism. That just ain't where I'm from. So it ain't the fact is, the more I admire you, the more critical the more closely I'm going to examine you.
Ain't on your mom. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm not ready to go to the mattress over Toni Morrison, but what I'm not gonna do is, thank you, bro. I just figured out how to get in here. What I'm not gonna do is allow everything that she's done to be whittled down into that one mistake. In the same way that I would not allow the one thing that I got right be the one thing that I'm gonna stand on. Like that just doesn't make sense. I think people come in all types of shapes. You know what I'm saying? But y'all wild.
So let's open it up. There's a few questions that I starred.
Okay.
For my own selfish purposes. Coco asked Diallo where your morality come from.
Hey, what's up, Coco? Hold on, I don't even Coco. Like I just think you're brilliant, and I appreciate you for even listening to us. And Diallo, go
Where
ahead.
I come from, we call that Jeffing. Don't go to Missouri Jeffing.
What is that? What is Jeff?
Yeah, when you get to Kansas City, when you get to Killer City, ask people what's Jeffing.
Okay.
But my morality comes from my intellect. It comes from my central nervous system. All morality, ethics are a human invention. It is a byproduct of human intellect. My central nervous system, my cerebral cortex, my morality comes from the same place all morality comes from: the human intellect, human imaginations, and human desires and drives and motivators. My intellect is a byproduct of my cognition. And finally, I am not spiritual. I call spirituality. Yes, I'm biological. Yes, I am an evolved primate. I call spirituality religion for lazy people. And finally, the average atheist is not revolutionary. There is nothing inherently or intrinsic about atheism. There's nothing inherently or intrinsically noble, good, or revolutionary about being an atheist. There are atheist capitalists, there are atheist imperialists, there are atheist tyrants. So atheism is not like religion. It's not a code. It doesn't dictate any behaviors or positions or standards. Atheism is a conclusion. That's all it is. It is a conclusion that there has never been any evidence of God or none of the religions have presented any objective proof for their positions. It's just that conclusion. Atheism is essentially an acceptance of reality, but you can do with that whatever you will, and the atheist community ain't gonna say shit about it. So those are the threes I wanted to run with. I'm going to put the link if you want to join us via video chat. I'm gonna put that in the chat, or you can type your comments in. You want to go ahead and give the disclaimer about respect and the rules for typing.
Look, hey, listen, bro, we got it, man. It was so together last week. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't even got to get a disclaimer.
It made me proud, man.
You're gonna regret that.
It made me proud. Like I just don't be doing all that disrespect, bro. Like that just that ain't where I come from. Being raised like that.
All right, so you're welcome to hop in. I just put the link in. I'll drop it every few moments so people can find it. Or if you want to type question, comment, or criticism. We're talking about ideology. And if you come in, I'd like to know if you have an ideology, if you are a leftist, a right winger, or you believe that it's possible to be neither or both. I'd also like if you would share that with us. And I know people get mad at me when I say that I'm a leftist. Oh, we got our first chime in. I think this brother was from last week. What's up, bro? Don?
Good, man. What up, Don? That's my
good.
Oh, wait, he's banned. I didn't see to the plant. Let me bring him. Let me zoom in. Now we can't see your plant.
What? Oh, wait.
Okay, what you want?
I don't even know where I'm at.
Nobody can see your plant. So what else you want? Because that's the only reason you come on here is to flex your foliage.
And look, he looked like he added some more this week just to start on you. Look at your one little plant back there. Now look, here we go. Don is a better botanist.
You want to go to war? I take you to war.
Oh,
huh?
You're not.
Y'all want to go to war? I take. It's just.
You're not.
You want to go to war? You want to go to plant war? Well, hey, man, just make your comment. I said you was barred. I went back on what I said. If you want to go, and I can't even take you out to show you my crops, my cantaloupes, and my marigolds, and my peppers and tomatoes.
You just naming all stuff that ain't even out there. That stuff don't even go in Chicago.
The camera won't reach. This is not a wireless camera. But I can take you out there and show you my crops. I can show you my kale.
I am in Southern California. I'm in Buena Park, California. Why he muted?
Did I mute? No, I didn't mute you.
What'd you say? Go ahead.
I got to deal with I'm
He just hating, bro. Talk to him, Don. How you feel, bro? How you week?
So
Everything
first off, Uhuru.
Uhuru. Let me
So-
put it up. Let me put it back. Go ahead and show off.
good? Look at that snake plant at the front. Like the boy is out there serving. Like, look at that. Look at that snake plant. Like,
God don't like that pride. Pride. You encouraging pride, Josephus. You're gonna get that man condemned.
Okay, so Uhuru, and I wanted to say that to indicate y'all know I follow the ideology that is African internationalism, where the primary contradiction is colonialism, and yeah.
Is it leftist?
It definitely strives for a science. We do strive for scientific socialism, yes.
That's left. Okay.
that's it. We on the same page.
Okay.
What's up?
Oh, nothing much. I'm sitting up here just trying to be principled, sitting up here doing some homework, getting pieces ready for the burning spear. Yeah. Making sure I'm sharp, making sure that the spear sharpens me,
You see what I'm saying, Diallo? You see how pleasant he is to talk to?
Yes. I just don't
You see
like
what I'm
people
saying?
coming on here trying to profile. We about humility. We about equality. I just don't like people trying to stunt. That's all. I'm a man of the people. I am a proletariat, and I just don't like people
you
that
just
try to like
but, that's what I'm saying, but earlier
like to
you
flash
was
their
talking about-
material possessions.
Earlier you were talking about being better, and we can look at the fruits of his trees and see that they way better than the fruits
I'm
of
at a
your trees.
disadvantage. I can't go arrange all these plants properly to really show
That's
my
what I'm saying.
abundance.
That's how many
the
plants
Lord
he got.
has blessed
That's how many
me.
plants he got. That's how many
Right.
plants he got. Like and look, you just got little plants. That's all right. Like one day
This
your
ain't
plants
the
will
main
grow over
room.
the
This
inside.
is
And
the
that's
office.
why
I have to share this office space with my wife. I can't really get down. If I could take y'all up front, but let me stop.
a weak craftsman blames the tools.
You supposed to talk to him, Don. Talk to him.
Insty ways. This is I'm gonna be real with you. This is all of this beauty that y'all see, all of it, myself included, is a result of my mom's hard work and hard labor.
All right. So my beef is with her.
Yes.
Get her on the camera so I can tell her about herself.
She just better than you, bro. Like it's cool.
It's not
right because she's got knowledge of
you.
Cultivating plants. Her knowledge makes her better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to submit to that if it advances my other point. So as long as I'm right in some type of way.
So I do have kind of a question though, because me myself, my radicalization definitely is new. I'm noticing that a lot of people that I experience here on Black Power Media, y'all parents was in the movement and stuff like that. I just, I can't relate. My parents was in the church. I was in the choir stand and stuff like that. But in going into my adult life, those things that I got from the church, though some of them brought me joy, those things ultimately failed me. So how do I contend with that? How would y'all how do I even articulate that? You get what I'm saying?
I would suggest that you
listen, bro. First of all, bro, are you a part of what Dunn got going? Are you in the church, Diallo?
No, I'm not in the church.
So this is not a question that you should be talking to Dunn about. Like you should leave that. So okay.
Well, no, I actually value Diallo's opinion, because what he was saying earlier was really resonating with me, right? How first off, atheism is not inherently, though I may have my personal traumas that are rooted in the church, right? The incorrect thing I feel, or the unprincipled thing to do, would be to jump and just be like, oh, the revolutionary thing to do is to go atheist, right? But like Diallo was saying earlier, that's not necessarily the thing. And then history, if I'm not mistaken, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, most of those African struggles for liberation, on the continent were based in Islam.
Not on the Horn of Africa, not in North Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's where I operate. Yes, I believe in the divinity of Jesus, right? I have no evidence for that. I accept that to be true. You were talking about my parents. I think there are some things that my dad would think, but I don't think that my dad would go as far left as I go on some things, because I think my dad would say, much like Diallo was talking about, he grew up, right? The reason and the way that I got radicalized was one, through my oppression, but also looking at Jesus. And the things that I was reading reconciled with the things that I was seeing and learning at church, like really built this thing that is me now, right? Like I believe Jesus was lynched. I definitely think Jesus was talking about, the world that I'm living in right now. And I think one of the things that we have to make sure is that we don't allow the culture of Christianity to get in the way of the revolutionary that Jesus was, for the way that I walk with it. Like, those things aren't mutually exclusive. Well, no, those things are mutually exclusive, right? Like, you cannot be married to the culture of the church and the revolutionary Jesus was or is, right? I don't see how you can do those two things. Have you read any Hal Cohn?
No, I've honestly, since I've grown into my adult life, I have steered away from that, and honestly just steered into more of the historical and materialist kind of like explanation for what's going on.
So check out The Crossing the Lynching Tree by Hal Cohn. Yeah, James Hal Cohn. And done specifically for you. This book is called Blue Like Jazz by this dude named Don Miller. Check that out. It's like Christian spirituality. Check that out.
I'm going to go ahead and say that, I'm glad that you can reject theology, and that I think being evidence and fact-based and reality-based is a more viable way to navigate life and to engage reality. But also, I think that I think that we as vegans, because we are under the perpetual threat, not just us, but the biggest victims of religion are the theists, are the believers. And I
Right.
think, just as a person who supports justice, liberation, and empowerment, I think we are obligated to be vocal in our criticisms against theology, and to encourage, support, and help others who are trying to escape the irrationality, delusions, and oppressions of the church, or being theistic. Help them as well. So I think that being atheist is great, but I think that we should be anti-theist and seek to subvert the influence and power that the religion has in our lives, our community, and in our struggles.
I deeply unite with that, Diallo. I really appreciate that. For real, for real.
And I think we, as victims of the church, even if we never set foot in the church, have every right to forcefully speak out against it, even if you never set foot in the church again. I do not agree with the position that if you're not in the church, you don't have a right to speak about the harms of the church. Since its founding, the harms of the church have never been confined to the walls, have never been confined to the believers.
Right. But then again, at the same time, I love Huey P. Newton's essay on the relevance of the church, right, wherein he states the importance of these institutions, right? And as far as control, right, this is the grandest and most consistent institution within the African community, right? harms aside, and that's kind of what I wrestle with, Diallo, like specifically on the line that we're going, right? It's like, okay, so the importance of the church as an institution, because like Africans need as much community as we can, muster, but at the same time, it's the contradictions of the church. How do you deal with that little intersect right there?
I've been out for so long. I left the church at 14. Well, I stopped believing at 14, but I was forced to. I really stopped believing at 12, and I left the church at 14. And I became an atheist at like 28. So it's an evolution. It's an evolution. I don't know. I know a lot of atheists. I haven't met one that was like went from religious to atheist overnight.
Okay, uhuru, I unite with that, y'all. All right, y'all. Definitely.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the discussion, and want to not take up too much of y'all time. And yeah, Diallo, I just really, really, really appreciate you, and get your plant game up.
Okay. All right. You banned for real this time. All right, bro.
We plant boy.
He's banned for real.
No, he's
okay,
not.
We gotta. Yes, he is.
Welcome.
That's welcome. It. He just earned it. You said yourself that people can't come on here being disrespectful.
He wasn't disrespectful.
Yes, I think his setup, his backdrop is disrespect. I'm gonna take it as he got a lot of big plants, and since I don't have them, I'm gonna take them as disrespect.
Yeah, I just don't. Somebody said something. I wanted to find it.
Chichi Macho, we'll get with you in a second.
Oh, bring him on, and I'll look for this other comment.
All right, Chichi Macho, we here, we're listening. Questions, comment, criticism. You want to share your ideology and whether or not you identify as a leftist, right winger, or neither?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear.
So leftist, far left.
All right.
My question, or I guess maybe a comment. I think as a community, we don't talk about the trauma of the church. I'm trying to see if I should say this publicly. Screw it, I will. So I grew up Catholic, and so in a very Catholic area, and it's just, for me, it's an entirely different level of repression and oppression than just being like Protestant, in particular being in the South, because like Catholicism is full of these rituals, and when we have true believers, they can be very damaging. Like, I'll give you an example. The Catholic Church, so my grandparents, when I was growing up, they had separate rooms. Now, they were in their 70s and 80s by the time I was a kid. So as I grew up, I never really thought about why that was until I got older and started to kind of question, well, they seem to be like that for the whole time. But basically, they had children and they weren't married. And so the punishment for that is they had to live as brother and sister for the remainder of their lives. So this was decades. Yeah, that is a Catholic, like you can look it up to this day, because actually I want to say in 2015 or 2016, like the Vatican had all these archdioceses around the globe like reissue like what the tenets of Catholicism were, because people weren't clear. And all of these punishment, like they're still there because people have evolved, and like culture has evolved, but the church has not. And so they were issuing these letters to say, no, this is what Catholicism is. And so when I realized like that's why my grandparents lived like that, like how repressive that was, because they were both, they raised their families, they were together, but they had to be punished for having children and not being married. That was very traumatic, and then led to a whole series of other traumatic things that happened. And so like for me, like my mother, she basically had a baby, no baby daddy. nobody ever discussed it like ever, like ever. Like I just came out of a Cabbage Patch, and like all of the trauma and stuff that put in me as a child, you know, like I was carrying like grown people's trauma, basically grown people's, I don't know, I guess it was their trauma too, but to put that on children, and I don't know what I'm trying to say with that, but basically it was traumatic. And I think that kind of trauma like then passes on, and then we keep generationally passing that trauma on, and then it's not even something that's culturally indigenous to us. And then it makes you make all sorts of different decisions in your life. So, and I know for me, like being an like whenever I call myself a Catholic in recovery, because people who I meet who have left the church, it seems to be a different kind of way that Protestants leave. They just kind of leave. Maybe the ones who are ex-Catholics are really like virulently, like just vehemently like can't have anything to do with Christianity, which that for me, because like it like I said, it was a lot of trauma that I've identified kind of in my family, but just even in others around me who just kind of have not come out of that yet. But I don't know. It's traumatic.
I appreciate you sharing that. I mean, I don't even have any, I'll allow that to stand. I appreciate, and I hope you continue to articulate and share this when it's appropriate and given opportunities, because I think we as a people need to start articulating the harms that we've endured. And I mean, just because we have so many people out here to talk about being blessed and highly favored and all the good things the Lord has done for them. And the people who have been harmed feel like they have to be silent. They don't want to be negative, or they don't want to be seen as disrespectful. I think the people who believe they are blessed and highly favored is as enthusiastic and willing they are to give their testimony. I think people like yourself, Chidi, you should also make sure your voice is heard and encourage others to do the same.
I also would like to say that I think it is important for you to do those things that you think are necessary to process through that, and to talk about it. Yeah, I think in talking about it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. But talking about it, that's my I guess way of processing it, because I feel like it was so wrong, and I don't want like other like I feel like other people should really understand who may be silently going through those things, because like I was just silent as a child and internalized everything. Oh, well, I'm not as good as everyone else because, you know, I come from a single parent home, and not single parent because like dad left, single parent because like this is being the dirty little secret that you don't talk about, because, you know, like that kind of, so I just talk about it. I'm just kind of matter of fact about it now, because I think it's ridiculous that any kids would go through that, because adults really kind of have defenses for themselves, or at least they can, because they, you know, have more experience in the world. But it's really a screwed up thing to do to children. And so in everything else that we experience in this white supremacist society, to then basically what I deem as, like, you know, the colonizers' religion, and in particular the Catholic Church, they were the financial backers of the colonialism and the slave trade. And so to have that added extra layer on that, just screwed up.
Well, I appreciate you, sis. I'm glad you shared. I appreciate you, and I hope you continue to engage and chime in when we open up in the future.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
You as well.
Thank you for calling in.
Okay, we got our brother Lead Clinton here. I think he's related to Bill Clinton. He's calling to challenge us talking down on Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hey, you want to Bill Clinton illegitimate kids?
Peace and blessings, brothers. Hello?
He's not here. Yeah, we hear you, brother. Can you
hear me?
Us? Yes.
Okay, peace and blessings. Nah, Clinton, that's just a handle. Clinton is the street I grew up in the Bronx. That's all Clinton represents. It's just a handle.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So no, I don't. I'm not left. I'm not right. I'm sure Diallo knows. We had some back and forth before. I'm not left or right. I don't identify with any of that. I identify with African centeredness. Now there are
African
things
centeredness is
that
leftist.
no, I disagree. I disagree. So this is what I was going to say. There are things that intersect, right? So now, if I ask you,
Uh-huh.
Skip, because you're a Christian, am I correct?
Yes.
You're a Christian.
Yes, I am.
So do you believe in? Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
Okay. I'm I'm pro-choice.
So okay. So how does that reconcile with your Christianity?
What you
God
mean?
is an
How do?
abortionist. He's the biggest abortionist in the world. But let me
I
get
mean,
back
like
at your
I don't
question.
quite. Yeah, yeah. Like I don't just quite. I don't understand where you're going. So just go.
Because from my understanding, most Christians don't identify as pro-choice, but I guess I was wrong.
That's
Yeah, but
because
see, I
most
think,
Christians don't read the
but see,
Bible. But I'm
but
gonna
see
let
again, yeah. See, Diallo, like you things that you
I'm
should
sorry.
be.
I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is, and I just think this is so important, right? I don't know most Christians. I know what I know. I know what the people that love me and care about me know. I know what the community that I'm in values. My mother is the man. My mother and Jesus are like this, and my mother is pro-choice. I don't have so when you're talking about this big Christianity thing, I don't know those people, and I can't
Okay.
speak for them. Like, do you know
Okay. Well,
everybody in the Bronx?
you did well.
Do you know everybody in the Bronx?
Absolutely not. There's over 1 million
So
people in the Bronx.
you can't speak for the Bronx. You could just speak for you
Absolutely
and the
not.
people that you know in the
Absolutely.
Bronx. That's it. So I
Absolutely.
just don't. So what you got?
So this is my so you 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 didn't answer the way I thought you was going to answer because I was trying to make a point. But my point was that certain things intersect, and just because they intersect doesn't mean that we are left or right or we have to be put into these boxes. My point is that regardless to whatever box you claim, both are coming from Caucasian people. Both modes of thinking are coming from Caucasian people. If we are being truly honest with ourselves, so as being African centered, a part of that, and I think Diallo will agree because he said this the other day on his show, is about reimagining or not losing your imagination. He said that. He said one of the things, which I agree with him, is we lost our imagination. So as being African centered, as being African people, right, we supposed to re-Africanize ourselves. And a part of that is not putting on the things that Caucasians have put on us, whether it's their politics, right? Whether it's their religion, etc., etc. With whatever religion they gave us, no, we're not doing away with that because it's no good.
What
It
about
fits you, it don't
leftism
fit
is
us.
white?
Whatever. Hold on. Let me
What
let me
about
finish my point. Let me finish my point. Let
okay,
me finish my
all right.
point. Let me please, brother. Let me finish my point because when you
I just
start
take
cooking, I'm
notes
gonna
and
just be
ask.
quiet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Whether it's their politics, we do away with it. We don't. It's not templated for us. So the best example I could give is, for example, as black people, we are the only ones with the skin hair texture combination, right? As African people, we are the only ones with the dark skin and the coiled hair that we have. You have other people who are dark skins like Indian, but they share the same hair texture as Caucasian people. My point is this: the same way we are unique to this planet, we should our everything that we do should be unique and templated unto us. Our spirituality, our politics, etc. That's my overall point.
So
Okay. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Here's the thing for me with that position. Um, After some divination, I'm descended from people uh in northern Ghana called the Gomba, right? Um, a good brother of mine, I love him dearly, is descended and practices Ifa, the tradition of Ifa. There are people that like various African spiritual belief systems, right? I don't think I think that we have turned Africa into a country politically with a lot of the ways that we kind of interact with Pan-Africanism, and not necessarily accounting for all of the differences that are present in West Africa, in East Africa, in Central Africa, in Southern Africa. And I think we just kind of throw things together and just kind of pick things and mash them together and say that it's Africa. And Africa is not a country, right? There are billions of people on that continent, and those people believe lots of things. If we want to look at Pan-Africanism, Kwame Nkrumah, W.B. Du Bois, Kwame Ture identified as being left and real left. So to just be like, well, we Pan-African, we not left, I don't see that being grounded in any leaders that will identify themselves as leaders in the Pan-African movement agreeing with that position. I don't necessarily know how we keep arriving at like really trying to make things be things that they not necessarily, right? Like ultimately, if a person supports capitalism, I look at that person as being on the right. If a person wants to build an alternative system where everybody has access, a socialist system, those people are left. Go ahead, Diallo. I think you muted.
You muted.
I want to ask you, Lee Clinton, what about, as you stated, being African or acting in the interest of African people, being African-centered, is anti-left? Give me some components of being down.
Okay.
Allow me to say this: of advocating, organizing for African liberation, are violated by leftism, or not supported by leftism.
Wait, rephrase that again. Rephrase that one more time.
What about being
I want to be
African?
clear what you're saying.
What about being African is in opposition to or violated by leftism or leftist ideology?
Well, we could use the example that I was just trying to use with Skipp when I asked him if he's pro-choice or pro-life, right?
So you're saying
As
abortion. I just want to run it down real quick. Abortion is anti-African?
Absolutely.
So you're saying forcing African women to give birth is African? Is pro-black?
Say that again. Forcing what? Say that again. Forcing what?
To procreate, forcing women to carry a child to term and give birth to it is pro-black and pro-African.
Well, Diallo, the way you phrasing the question is more
what
context.
What else is anti-abortion?
So,
what
else
anti?
I mean,
well, if
you can't do that.
You jump in and you ain't letting me explain. Look at y'all. Y'all both jump in quick. Y'all gonna let me explain or not? But go ahead. It's y'all show. I'm gonna fall back.
Forced birth of forcing black women who do not want to, who are impregnated, who are pregnant, forcing those black women to carry that child to term against their will, you say is pro-black or an African value?
It's the way that you're phrasing the question, because you know that when you're saying force, no one said nothing about force. Okay, no one said nothing about force. Now, let me explain myself. What I know about abortion, come on, Skipp, listen up. What I know about abortion that it was started here in America by eugenists who were hell bent on on decimating Africans. What are you laughing for? We all know Planned Parenthood is a brainchild of Margaret Sanger. That's a fact. This is no tinfoil stuff. She had a program called the Negro program, where the whole purpose of that was to.
Let's wait. I can't let you
Wait. Let me finish.
I'm gonna have to mute you.
Can't. I didn't interrupt you when you spoke.
Mute him, cousin. Mute him, cousin.
You but you wrong right now. You wrong.
No.
You actually.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you. I'm sorry. I had to mute you. But if you go do your research, the first abortion recorded in papyrus was in Africa. The first, I ain't saying the first abortion that occurred was in Africa, because I think abortion is older than the written word. I think abortion has been around as long as pregnancy. But the first recorded anthropological validated abortion occurred in Africa. So I brought you back, Lee. Lee, you back? Well, I tried to bring you back. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so I wouldn't disagree with you on that, my brother. We know that a lot of the things that we know, like different surgeries, etc., is nothing new. But like I said, you're painting, when you're saying force, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about as abortion, and we could go at, my God, I can't even finish what I'm saying. This is not, if we're going to have a dialogue, you let me, I didn't interrupt y'all when y'all talk. This is not fair.
Listen, you're right, it's not.
Y'all not letting me talk. Y'all talking over me, and y'all not letting me talk.
Yes, we absolutely are. Because what you're not going to do is come in and say, first off, that whether or not I'm pro, or if I believe women should be forced to have children or not, is an indicator of anything politically, right? Like that's not a test. But then to say that to not allow a woman to have an abortion isn't forcing her to have a child. Like, that's not the way the word works. Either they can do it or they can't.
But
and if they can't,
I didn't say no. But see, first of all, y'all need to let me speak without talking for me. I can talk for myself. Don't let me speak. You understand? You're dealing with absolute. This conversation that we're having about abortion is a good one, because it goes back into the left-right paradigm. See, that's a narrow-minded way of thinking. We, as African, as Black people, we are intelligent enough to create our own concepts, our own theories, our own thoughts about certain things. Now, no one said force. I wouldn't want a woman, if in my family, right, if she is going through some type of complication or something like that, that may take her life. That doesn't make any sense. But we have to deal with common sense. But we also, my God, I can't even get nothing out. How can we have a discourse if y'all keep interrupting me? But we have to be. Oh my God! But how can I?
What I mean?
So
what you telling me? It's nothing. It's nothing that you can say where a woman doesn't have control over her body. Nothing. I don't care why she don't want to have a baby. It don't matter. She cannot want to have a baby because they say the baby was gonna be born a Leo and she don't like Leos. That is her decision. I don't have no say in that. That's her. That's it. Like, it don't matter what it is. No. And you can try to come up with as many concepts and excuses as you want to make. No, a woman has a right to make her own decisions about her body. The end.
Yeah, I think that giving African women full bodily autonomy to make decisions about their reproduction is African AF. And if you
can I speak that, without being cut off?
Be pro-Black or pro-African. Yeah, go ahead.
But y'all talking for me. You know what I'm saying? First of all, that doesn't make any sense what you said, Skipp. That doesn't make are you glad to be here? What if your mother would have aborted you? Does that make any sense? That makes absolutely no sense. That makes no sense. So what we're doing is we are corrupting ourselves with Caucasian degeneracy. Yes, we are. Because if you're honest with yourself, when it comes to this conversation, There's no other talking point besides abortion that says anyone is trying to control a woman. We're talking about men and women who are complementary to each other, and God damn it, and we're complementary to each other, and who are the creative process. The creative.
This is nonsensical. This is nonsensical. This is nonsensical. Nobody no. Listen, hey, bro. Hey, I appreciate you for listening. You might not listen again. Have a great night. But this is not what we not gonna do this.
I think you.
So let's get off. Let's get off of that point, and let me because I see we're not gonna get on. We're being emotional about abortion, but let's get off of that point. Besides the fact that y'all really not letting me speak, I'm gonna just get off the point, bro. Why you keep?
No, come tell you why. Cause listen, there's another thing that y'all men get on here and do. It's another thing that y'all get on here and do. When somebody
Skipp, let's have an honest conversation. I'm not trying to
stop, Lee. I don't want to
keep over talking me.
Make me boot you.
Listen, another thing that you or any other person isn't going to do is get on here when somebody disagrees with you to then try to feminize them and say, oh, you're getting emotional. You're not being logical. You are the most emotional person here. And what's wrong with being emotional? I'm happy to have emotions. I'm a human being. I'm supposed to have those things. I'm not.
Well, you talking over me without letting me talk. I understand it's your show, but not let me talk.
I'm not gonna elevate that. I'm not gonna let that happen.
I was using that as a point of
somebody.
Let's see if we can go beyond. Maybe we can go beyond.
Okay.
What's your other? Okay,
I was using that. I was using that as a point, but let's get off that because we're not going to agree. The point is this, right? We have to remove the overall point is that we have to come out under Europeanism, European ideas, their religion. So the Diallo, I agree with you 100. I agree, Diallo. I agree with you 100% on religion, right? There's no disagreement when we talk about religion, whether it's Christianity, which is a European religion, whether it's Islam, which is an Arab religion, right? My point is this: we have to take it further. Even with Christmas, a lot of us say, okay, that we're Black Power this, but then we celebrate a Christmas, which is a racist holiday, right? We don't understand the spirituality in Christmas, right? And we ask, well, if you're African-centered, if you're this and that, why do you still celebrate Christmas? They have a million one excuse. So this is my overall point: is that we have to, if we have to do the small things, the things that we actually have control over. We have to remove ourselves out of Europeanism. Now, real quick, and I'm gonna stop. Going back to your point, Skipp, when you was talking about Africanism, when you brought up the different tribe. This is the thing. Us now in the flesh, we are the ancestors right now. So when it comes to Africa, the continent, right? Africa has the biggest culture, right? Our culture is broad. There's so many different cultures. There's so many different customs. So we can pick and choose what's right, what's wrong. Also, as far as Africanizing ourselves, going back to what Diallo said on his show the other day, with our imagination, we can create new concepts, new ideas. That's my overall point that I want to stamp home. We don't have to fall under the hammer and the sickle.
All right. Listen, we gave you the final point. I think you need to review if you are going to be in opposition to Eurocentrism. I think you need to review what Eurocentrism is in its policy, in its position, in its ideology, because being anti-abortion is Eurocentric as fuck and right-wing as fuck. So you are on the fence, which means you are on some old Forrest Gump shit. You think revolution is like a box of chocolate, that you can cry for liberation of Black people while trying to impose oppression on African women. And it doesn't work that way. And there are a lot of so-called Black revolutionaries, a lot of so-called Pan-Africanists who are not trying to liberate African people. They're just trying to wrestle control of African people away from white. And taking control of African people is not the same as liberating African people. Just like when you got people who say free the land versus black people who say we got to own our own land. You're either going to have the land freed and liberate the land, or you're going to take over ownership of the land. Those are two diametrically opposed solutions. So you cannot have a black version of cracker shit. I agree we shouldn't be Eurocentric, but dictating and controlling and oppressing, and just because you don't call it control does not mean it's not control. The moment you outlaw abortion, you're exercising control because you got to enforce it. And how do you enforce it without taking control?
That man said, if she can't get abortion, how am I forcing her to have a baby?
But hey, he's not there yet. You started off speaking sympathetically about people who don't have the knowledge and people who aren't there yet.
But
I was the bad guy. I'm the bad guy.
But there's the other thing, bro, and I'm gonna say this, and I mean this sincerely. Like, somebody will come here, pick 15 seconds of it, and be like, "This is what they think." I'm just not gonna let you do that. I'm just not gonna do that.
All right. Do we have any other callers with questions, comments, criticisms? I don't think, and I think he proved my point. I said, if you claim you're not left or right, people who say that generally default to the right. I've yet to encounter a conscious black person that says I'm not left or right, and they defaulted to the left in their views and position. They always default to the right when they claim they're neither. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, but I also want to just say this. I want to invite anybody on here that got better plans than Diallo to come back on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you want to come on in vanity, if you want to come on here in pride, if you want to come on here and commit a cardinal sin, go for it. So I guess that's it. Nobody wants to come on here and state they claim they set or articulate. Oh, we got somebody. Baseology. Oh, this is the anti-vegan guy. He should be good.
Oh, he about to go off on you, bro.
Come on with it. Mr. Baseology. Welcome to the Rational Radical.
You was ducking him. Like,
I wasn't. I actually starred his questions. I just try to prioritize the people who come live, but I starred his question. It's right here. I was going to get into that.
Boom.
But now he's here.
Your vitamins.
Welcome.
You ain't got all your vitamins,
I sure don't. Not since 1992. I can barely hold my head up. I'm so weak and exhausted.
Hello?
Oh, but I'm sorry, Mr. Baseology, welcome. Question, comment, criticism?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Did you read my comment?
Yes, I did. I actually started. I put it on the screen because I was going to get to it.
So what do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely wrong.
Huh?
And I think okay, well, I can't say you're wrong. Let me just say, I'll explain to you how veganism is healthy when it's missing key ingredients. First of all, it's not missing those key ingredients. There are plant-based sources of CoQ10. Enzymes are inherent to the body. Your body develops and maintains enzymes. So, and cooking is also mechanical digestion of food. Bacteria, you are an animal. Human beings are animals, so we contain animal bacteria. And hormones, your adrenal glands produce hormones. So this statement is non-scientific. I don't think it comport. Allow me to finish. I think your statement does not comport with human anatomy and physiology, let alone dietary nutrition and requirements. But you are correct to suggest that there are some aspects of veganism where the food system or the vegan diet you may have to be more mindful in your nutritional intake. Protein is, your body can synthesize proteins. The system of protein synthesis and chemical synthesis does create that. But ultimately, more than half the U.S. population is deficient in nutrients. Vegans can be said to make up, vegetarian and vegans are said to make up less than 5% of the overall population, but over 50% of the U.S. population is deficient in nutrients, and that in essential nutrients because of the nature of the food system. And most foods that we consume are called what is called fortified with calcium, fortified with B12. So I've been a vegan since 1992. And for several years within that veganism, I was also a raw foodist for many of those years, where I didn't even eat cooked food, where I did that for a number of years. I think it was probably between 98 and 2000 and 2021. I was a raw foodist, and I just came back, going to see my physician about an old injury, and I get my blood work, and I have no existent nutritional deficits that can be identified through my blood work. So I think it is a myth that at least half of people who eat the standard American diet and who eat meat are nutrient deficient. And you can have all of the essential nutrients and complex compounds and protein can be secured, and better, higher quality and more bioavailable nutrients through a vegan diet. Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
So go on and get off the swine and get refined. You act like you're blind and you lost your damn mind. Get off the swine, man. You'll be all right.
All right.
And if you need reference, Mike Tyson, what's that one Olympic dude that won all the medals? I can't remember his name. But I mean, just go look up if you're really concerned about that. There are many vegan athletes, vegan nutritionists, vegan personal trainers that can run it down for you better than I can.
A gorilla ain't eating up at least 600 pounds. So it's something
different.
And consuming a vegan diet will change your intestinal flora, and your intestinal flora is very important, and it is heavily influenced by the foods you eat and the bioavailability of the food. And even though a lot of the nutrients, CoQ10 and high levels of protein are available in the meat and dairy foods, much of it is extremely denatured because of the processing. Much of the meat in the U.S. is irradiated, exposed to radiation in order to kill many of the parasites and bacteria. And when they process the grains and things of that nature, it extracts the nutrients and degrades the nutrients, and then they have to put the nutrients back in the food. So most of the food we eat is called fortified, which through the processing of that food, it loses many of its natural qualities, and they reinsert them through chemistry. So, Mr. Ology.
Well, I'm convinced about the moral, approach to it, the moral argument about veganism, but not necessarily the nutrition. Not yet, I guess.
Yeah. I understand. I respect the fact that you would question that, and I would encourage you to explore that, and through the sciences, there are certain risk factors that accompany being a vegan, but I guarantee you, on a 1-to-1 scale, the risk factors that accompany a meat-based or a dairy-based diet are much harder to avoid and address than the potential and risk factors associated with a vegan diet. In my lived experience and in the research, from my point of view.
Oh, and my other comment about spirituality. What did you say? You said spirituality is lazy.
Spirituality is religion for lazy people.
Oh yeah, I disagree with that. I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like religious people are the lazy ones, and the spiritual people tend to take it into their own hands, and it's like, you know, it's more work for themselves. Like nobody is reading to them or telling them what to do. It's like you have to get up and do it yourself.
So you make it up as you go along. You do what you want to do when you're ready to do it as a spiritual person. Whereas a religious person, you got these thick, big phone books of all these rules, protocols, standards. You got to pray 5 times a day facing the east. You got to fast during Ramadan. You got to take communion and Ash Wednesday. You got what's they call that when y'all have to fast for 40 days or whatever, Lent. There are a lot more rules. And when you are religious, people can look at you because what you believe has been written down. And people can look at you and say, hey, you're not following these rules. You're Jewish and you here pushing buttons and working on the Sabbath. Whereas if you're spiritual, you could be like, oh, no, that rule doesn't apply to me. I do what I want. I do what I want. So religion, you just said yourself, if I say, well, my ancestors or the energy or the universe told me to sit on the couch and play Xbox, how can you dispute that? Whereas if I say I'm a Christian and I sit on the couch and play Xbox, then you can come to me and say, well, the Lord sloth, not being fruitful and multiplying, and you're not serving your master as you serve the Lord. There's a prescribed rules that you have to follow. Whereas if I'm spiritual, I can literally figure out all the stuff I like. I could go up to the living room right now and say, listen, tell my wife, I'm spiritual and I believe that I should have Reese's peanut butter cups for dinner. And that's what the ancestors and vibrations and the universe has sent to me. Whereas if I'm religious and I go up there and tell my wife, she can be like, well, let me pray to the same God. And the same God told me, no, you got to eat this cabbage. So spiritual people get away with a lot more BS than religious people because religious people have written down, published, and well understood rules and standards and practices. Whereas religion people make it up as they go along.
I disagree. You practice. You said previously that you practice yoga, right?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, I just stretch.
You just stretch. Oh. Well, the dharmic, I guess, tradition that's essentially where yoga comes from. And so to them, spirituality is physicality is like, boundaries, borders. Spirituality is outside of what we consider physicality.
Spirituality are you referring to?
Huh?
Whose spirituality are you referring to?
I guess everyone's humanity.
First of all, my spirituality says otherwise.
That's you're misunderstanding what I'm trying to say. Actually, it's like they see it as, okay, what makes up what is physical is a boundary, and outside of that is what we consider to be spiritual, right? What's outside of the 5 sense organs. And so the way to get beyond that is to essentially go beyond that with what they call the 8-fold path or Ashtanga yoga.
You talking yoga? Yeah. Yoga. First of all, yoga is part of established religious and spiritual systems. What if my spirituality? What if the universe told me that yoga is not part of my spiritual destiny? It's not part of my hermetic.
All yoga is all spiritual. All religion is rooted in yoga. Every type of. Every time.
So now you're making shit up.
Yes, it is. Someone singing a hymn, that's not a yoga. Somebody being devoted to Jesus, that's.
I think you're proving my point, and I appreciate that.
No, I think no.
You're proving my point. You can just make shit up, and it's harder if you can make up your own shit if you become a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Christian, a Muslim. You can make shit up, but it's a little more difficult than if you're spiritual. You can literally say everything, and there's no established track record. There's no authority that can challenge you. And I've taken yoga classes as an atheist. I walked in an atheist. I did my downward dog and I walked out an atheist. There was nothing spiritual about it. It was physiological to me. Yoga, when I was taking the classes, was purely physiological. It was not
It's
spiritual.
theological, but it's more than that.
You.
No, for everyone, for the people that that's what they say. That's what the people say about it.
Like I said, make it up as you go along.
Well, all right.
I appreciate you, Baseology.
All right.
Hey man, come back and attack being vegan next week, bro.
Nah. Well, maybe. All right.
Yeah, get off the swine. All right, bro. Thanks for chiming in.
Diallo tell y'all to get out the swine, and like the boy is eating all types of pork rinds.
Who, me?
Yeah, hog head south.
Oh, we got vegan pork rinds now. Made of rice. We got everything y'all got now. It's wonderful. Being a vegan back in 92 and the 90s sucked. Being a vegan now is wonderful. So, all right, Namdi X Arvo, you're alive with the Rational Radicals.
First off, what's going on, bro? I want to say, I appreciate being up here with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm humble, so I'm not going to try to, take time because I know it's running out of time. But first off, I'm a atheist. I'm a rational. I ain't a revolutionary, and I'm far left and whatever. So my thoughts is to both of y'all. I read the book by the Kwame Nkrumah, Consciousnism, I think it was called.
Consciousism.
Thank you, consciousness. Thank you. And he talks about religion and how religion is like based off the oppressor, right? How the oppressor use it to manipulate, African people into, I guess, doing certain things or being more quail than radical, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So question. My question is, when it comes to like Kwame Nkrumah, and he says we should like detach from religion, and even himself, he said it's not a like war against religion. We're not warring against religion. We're just trying to get away from it to see it for what it really is, and to be able to, I guess, grow the consciousness of our people, but also understand that it's a tool that was used to oppress us. And until we get, liberated and free, we shouldn't, I guess we shouldn't mess with it or touch it. And I'm just wondering what's your opinion on that.
I'll let you go.
No, man. I think, let's see, what do I think? I think my religious beliefs, my spiritual practices are mine. And I think yours, are the absence of that, are yours. I think that if you want to force women to have babies, I'm going to disagree with you for the rest of my life. I think if you are not taking care of the earth, I'm going to disagree with you for the rest of my life. I don't really know. I don't know how I believe is important to you, because what you believe isn't really important to me. I think people have had terrible experiences with church. I've had my own struggles with church. Man, what we doing to unite the community? Because as Malcolm said, they're not doing it to me because I'm Baptist. They're not doing it to that woman because she was Catholic. They're doing it to us, in the words of Diallo, because they white. This is their pathology. And what we doing to kind of improve our material condition. That's just where I'm at with it. And I really don't know why we just keep having these conversations and arguments around what people believe. We should just be focused on doing the work.
Well, I agree with it in terms of uniting the community, but I have to depart where I say I think we can and should do both. I think we can be, I think you and I are evidence that we can have disagreements in the arena of strategy, tactics, in certain ideas, as long as the fundamentals are there, and we can have productive and even close friendships and partnerships, even with as we debate and engage in discourse, debate and arguing. But to speak, I think, because I'm a great admirer of Nkrumah, and my youngest son is named, his middle name is Nkrumah. I named him after because I had such admiration, and I think we focus so much on the revolutionary components and anti-colonial. We a lot of times overlook that he was a statesman. He was a scholar, a contemporary of Dr. Clark. He was a scholar and a statesman and a bureaucrat. And I think we overlook the value of bureaucracy because we've been so oppressed by the state that some of us don't even want to entertain statecraft and understand statecraft because we are oppressed by the state and we have never lived under African governance, So, but anyway, Kwame Nkrumah, which I would call myself, are not going to believe this, but he was what is called a secularist. He was not anti-religion. When it comes to organizing, I'm anti-religion, but when it comes to organizing, engaging, building, being unified, as Skipp said, I'm a secularist. And secularist is the most unifying position because it holds no religion as primary, which opens up the engagement of all belief systems. Secular societies allow for people to seek out and engage the divine, the supernatural, the theological on their own terms, but do not allow any of those to dictate beyond the personal. So I agree with Nkrumah when he challenged and said that religion can be challenged, it can be critiqued, and those who choose to distance or separate should be free to do so without consequences, and those who choose to remain should also be respected and understood, but not impose that beyond their own soul. Don't do anything your God wouldn't do. Your God's not out here converting people. So I agree that every just and progressive movement should not be atheist. I wouldn't join an organization that was exclusively atheist. I wouldn't work with an organization or group that was exclusively atheist. And I've never organized around anything that's exclusively atheist. Every organization that I worked with or founded or cooperated with has been secularist, because I think strict atheism is no different than a lot of these cults. I think we should be secular in our organizing, which means we organize based on the agenda, the principles, the values, and the ultimate goals, but we allow for people to come into that as they are and exit as they are, and their own personal development can be in concert with the collective, but it's not dictated or controlled by the collective.
That's it. Boom.
Okay, well, I mean, I agree with that. I'm not going to, argue with logic. It's just, like, Josephus said, we having this like broad argument about like religion, what religion, why religion, and whatever. And I just feel like it's more of a, I guess you could say a, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. A distraction, if anything, from the bigger problem. So, and again, I believe, I don't knock nobody's religion. I just believe, if we're going to do it, it should be circular. And if you are going to do religion, you should grow from it and have a truly better understanding than just like reading a few pages and thinking, God gonna come save us. That's all.
Appreciate you, bro. And
Thank you
with
for
that,
listening, bro.
we're gonna have you see us out. Thank you for listening to Rational Radicals. Thank you for supporting Rational Radical Show and Black Power Media. And we're gonna wrap this up and be back week after next.
Let's do it. Hit my line tomorrow, bro.
You gonna close us out?
Oh yeah, hey man.
You're
Thank
not
you.
on your job.
I am, man. But you know, I get invited to do this. Thank you. Thank you for community. Thank you for community. Thank you for friendship. Thank you for dialogue. Thank you for trust. Thank you for love. Walk with us, guide us, hold us, and keep us in your will and your way. Amen.
All right, peace, bro. And I'll
All right,
definitely
bro.
be in line to get that. What's that Skipp thing? What's that thing you came?
Yes. Spill.
All right,
And
I'm gonna be on it.
like a subscriber and some whatever. Like I'll figure out how to get y'all one of these things. Anyhow, right on to the real.
All right.